What's up, A to Z Sports Live on a Thursday. Gonna have a good show here on this Thursday, talking Titans. We do have an update about Treylon Burks. That's very unfortunate for him, and it asks a lot of questions about his future with the Tennessee Titans. But we also have Calvin Ridley with a Jags revenge game. But we also have Operation Italy. Sam, man, that the chat pre-show on YouTube has been all about last night's Survivor episode. That was cinema. I saw some other people talking about great college basketball. Will Bowling said that Auburn Duke basketball was cinema. No, that Survivor 47 episode last night was pure cinema, as Sam makes the cut down from 7 to 6 in an absolute stud fashion of Operation Italy. And we're here with A to Z Sports All-American quarterback type Sam Phelan. So we're going to have a good show. We have the magic bucket. Will we actually get to the magic bucket or not? I don't know. We might have to just do some other fun things towards the end of the show. But we do have Treylon Burks update to get to and what we thought about that, what that means as well. But Sam, get the people in here. I know you're kind of running on adrenaline right now after if I were you, I wouldn't have been able to sleep last night. But very fun Survivor 47 episode. So Sam, welcome the people in here and tell them what they got to do before we officially get rolling.
Hey, welcome in, man. Let's do it. Exciting morning, a morning worthy of adrenaline, for sure for me. You're right. It was a close call if I was ever going to be able to get to sleep. We snuck a couple of hours in there, but here we are. Show must go on, nevertheless. So get on in here, like the show, and share the show before we get started. If you're watching on Facebook, hit the share button in the bottom right corner. If you're watching on YouTube, take the YouTube link, send it around, let people know that we're talking Titans, we're talking Treylon Burks, and, we're talking a little bit of Survivor 47 here this morning as well. Share the show. Make sure you repost us on Twitter and X as well, and just get it out on that feed, on that timeline before we kick things off here on a Thursday morning, a Victory Thursday morning.
Victory Thursday here. All right, let's get it going officially. Welcome to A to Z Sports, powered as always by the BetMGM app. I'm Austin Stanley. He is Sam Phelan, the All-American quarterback type here for A to Z Sports, and one of our Titans reporters as well. We are Nashville's on-demand sports talk network, going live weekday mornings at 8 Central Time on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Link to the show here on our Twitter X timeline. You can find us there at A to Z Sports. Also hit us up on Instagram, TikTok, and Threads for more great Titans content. Got to thank our sponsors. They make it happen for us, and they help out all of you, like Wilson County Hyundai. Make Wilson County Hyundai a part of your new car buying process. See them in Lebanon or online at wilsoncountyhyundai.com. The Bone and Joint Institute, boneandjointtn.org, the region's destination for comprehensive orthopedic and sports medicine care. Farm Bureau Health Plans. Get better with Farm Bureau Health Plans. You can do that by getting a quote today using our link, fbhp.com/ATOZ. And T-Dot, join the campaign to keep Tennessee beautiful and help find a solution to end littering across our state. And that is by visiting nobodytrashestennessee.com. So, Sam, take us through your evening from about 8:30 p.m. Central Time to now, which is 12-ish hours, right around 12 hours. What's the last 12 hours been like for you after Operation Italy was a success last night? And then we'll dive into some Treylon Burks talk as well. But how you feeling?
Yeah, I mean, you said adrenaline, right? Adrenaline's probably a good way of describing it. You never really know how, people are going to respond to different things. So when something cool happens and there's this, awesome, very positive reaction from a lot of people, it's stimulating in a lot of ways. And you're just like, you're trying to read everything and see everything. And I was able to spend some time with some of my friends last night, which was a cool episode to, get to watch with friends. So it was a great night, but it was very difficult to sleep, like you said. So powering through a Thursday. I know Easton Freeze had texted in our text chat last night that nobody's going to get anything done at the Titans facility this afternoon. It's going to be quite a busy, day over at in Titans World, and not for football reasons.
No,
people have been begging for a reason to, talk about something other than Titans football sometimes throughout the last few months at the facility. And, I think Thursdays are a pretty good day for most people because they have, everybody gets to recap the show.
Yeah, I mean, but seriously, and I don't know if I certainly didn't know this because I had no idea what was going to happen, but like, who survives longer, Will Levis or Sam on Survivor? This has turned out to be great for both of you guys. like Will Levis is playing at a top 10 quarterback level since he returned from injury. And Sam, you guys pulling off Operation Italy, which was a lot of fun last night. All right, so enough of that. We'll talk more maybe about that later on. And I'm curious to see what the locker room and the media room is like tomorrow after we get an update there. So all right, so Treylon Burks has been on injured reserve since October 19th. Today is December 5th. Yesterday, December 4th, where we finally got an update from head coach Brian Callahan about the Titans' former first-round pick wide receiver that we have not seen in quite some time because he got hurt in practice. He played against the Indianapolis Colts. The last catch that he made this season was the 4th and short. Levis makes an incredible throw to evade the rush, hits Burks on a crosser in contested catch form. The Titans convert that 4th down before they end up losing. But then Easton asked Brian Callahan if there was any update on Treylon Burks after it's been quiet and hush, basically nothing for over a month. Here was the Titans head coach yesterday dropping a pretty big nugget about the Titans receiver.
I do. I should have mentioned this probably before, but he went on IR with an ACL injury initially. It was a loose ACL that wasn't fully torn, and so they had to go to see some doctors and some specialists, and some weeks went by after he went on IR, but he eventually had to have ACL surgery. So he is out for the year, not coming back, obviously, with that surgery. So went to IR, had some tests and some further work done, and had to have the surgery. So the surgery was, I don't want to speak out of turn on the date, but a couple weeks back probably. But it was from the time he went to IR to when it happened was also a couple of weeks. So kind of got lost in the shuffle there on the IR board.
It's been radio silent on Treylon Burks. Like, I mean, I don't know, like, Sam, kind of explain guys that go on injured reserve, and if you do or don't see them in the locker room or around the facility at all, because you guys are in the locker room during the week 3 times in the week. Like, do you see Treylon Burks? Do you see some of these other guys on IR? Kind of what's that situation like?
Yeah, if it's a situation like a Chidobe Awuzie situation, or even with like L'Jarius Sneed, you may see a guy in the locker room occasionally walking in, gathering his things, talking to his teammates. But for the most part, no. Like, these guys are removed almost from the locker room as if they were traded or cut and just no longer on the roster. I mean, their locker is still there. It still exists. They're still in there, just not often when the media are in there as well. So in the same way that, I have not laid eyes on Jack Gibbons since his injury that, landed him out for the year. Ever since Treylon's IR stint became a thing, there's just been no sign of him. So players very much are separated from regular locker room time. A big part of this is because locker room immediately follows practice. So if you practice, you come in from practice, go into the locker room, probably have to change, probably have to shower, probably just hanging out for a little bit. And that is our time as media that we have open locker room access. But if you're not practicing, if you're off doing rehab, if you're, not at the facility at all, whatever the situation might be for some of these guys with long-term injuries, they're not there. So it is weird. You can go from talking to a guy every day. You see him after practice every day. He gets injured and he's just not around anymore in a flash. And that's what it has been like for Treylon Burks. And so I think part of the reason things go radio silent is you just don't have an update, and you don't think of an update because Treylon's not there. He's not talking. The Titans aren't talking about it. Nick Westbrook-Ikhines had so much success filling in for him that it becomes forgotten about very quickly.
Yeah, if Treylon Burks falls down in a non-contact drill in practice and nobody's there to see it, doesn't make a sound. It's kind of like that type of situation. Right. He's not there. Like nobody knows. Nobody saw it because it was in a practice that was closed.
Well, yeah, in a practice after the media have to leave. So, media gets first 10, sometimes 20 minutes of practice where you can watch some individual drills and stretching. But if a guy gets hurt in practice, it's just an update that comes out a day, 2 days, 3 days later, or is a question after you see their name pop up on the injury report. And that was kind of the case with Treylon Burks. His name pops up, you see knee, you go, okay, I wonder what that is. He's out. Now he's on injured reserve. You don't see him in the locker room, and bang, out for the year. It's a very sudden snowball effect that sort of takes place.
Yeah, Scott asked the question, which I think is a good one. Why was it not reported? Kind of nuts. It is one. It is kind of nuts. It's absolutely crazy that this has gone this long since we've had an update from the team and from Brian Callahan about this. And I think listening to Callahan's explanation of it, it does make a little sense because it wasn't like he tore his ACL like every other ACL that gets torn and torn ACL surgery after the swelling goes down, he's out, right? Saying it was loose and there was probably some evaluation. Does that help? Does it get better over time? Does the strengthen? Does that work like that? So like I have torn my ACL. If you've listened to any Doc Talk situation, we've talked about this. I brought this up, but like I once about a year and a half after my ACL recovery and surgery, I had a situation playing flag football and intramurals the same way I tore it the first time, where I had a tweak. And I got an MRI, got looked at, and it was slightly like damaged. It was that looseness.
Yeah.
And it was let's just see how it responds. Hopefully we don't have to touch it. And so that's what it sounds like happens. And I wasn't training for anything. So like they just left it. We left it. My ACL's fine. It feels good. It kind of worked its way through that and healed on its own. So maybe that was the initial plan, but apparently he had surgery a couple weeks ago. Let's just call it mid-November, right? Like I think mid-November is where we need to put the flag in the ground or the turf and say Treylon Burks had surgery mid-November, and we can use that moving forward for whatever prognostication we think.
Yeah, it's a similar situation to kind of what the Titans also dealt with this year with L'Jarius Sneed, and that being the severity of the injury, sort of a mystery to the team upon initial diagnosis. And it requires some weeks sometimes to realize just how severe this is or what the actual recovery options are. With L'Jarius Sneed, the Titans thought he had a contusion, a bruise to his quad. Well, when his quad doesn't get better after 1 week, 2 weeks, they start to think that's uncharacteristic for this type of injury. Let's take a closer look. They do an MRI. They find a quad strain which can vary in severity and, can be 2 weeks, can be 10 weeks. The Titans waited it out. They saw this sort of situation developing, and it kind of became apparent that Sneed wasn't getting better fast enough, and his best way to recover was going to be getting surgery on the quad, which then keeps him out for a longer chunk of time. It sounds pretty similar to what went on with Treylon Burks here, where they diagnosed a knee injury and were kind of exploring all options for what the timeline could be. You throw him on IR and you just kind of hope, okay, we'll see where he's at after 4 weeks. And, maybe it's fixed itself. He's playing pain-free. The risk of re-injury is lower. Maybe all of those things work out. And when they don't, you start needing to evaluate other options. They clearly settle on knee surgery, which I'm sure is a hard decision because it comes with long-term ramifications for both the team and for Treylon Burks.
For sure. All right. So I think there are 2 directions Treylon Burks' career can go. We're going to go over those here in a second. But first, Sam, introed this with Easton yesterday. It's the holiday season, which means everybody needs a little moment's peace. A moment's peace salon and day spa in Cool Springs /Franklin, a momentspeace.com/Christmas. So you take the website right there on the graphic, add that /Christmas. That's where you should go for your loved ones this holiday season. It's the easiest way to guarantee a victory at Christmas. It is the simplest way. Holidays, massages, a moment's peace. People are stressed. You're trying to get Christmas shopping done. If you're trying to end the year strong, you might have that extra ball of stress in the middle of your back. You can get that worked out after the new year with a Moment's Peace salon and day spa. So you can go on their website, a momentspeace.com/Christmas. You can have your spouse or your girlfriend or the mother in your life, the women in your life, go pick out what they want, and you give them a budget, or you can just go get a gift card. That's the best way to do it. Get a gift card and let them pick 2, because there's 10 plus services that a Moment's Peace salon and day spa has, from massages to facials, mani-pedi combos. They have a full salon for hair care as well. I suggest the couples massage because that means you get to be involved too in the situation. So I had a couples massage there 2 weekends ago. Fantastic. Always is with a Moment's Peace. So momentspeace.com/Christmas is where to go this holiday season to guarantee a victory for your loved ones. So Sam, 2 directions Treylon Burks' career can go. For one, I think he is done with the Titans. Now we'll talk about that more in detail here in a bit. I also think that retirement is not a crazy thing to think about with Treylon Burks at this point, because an ACL injury in mid-November, you talk about 9 months. That's kind of the fair 9 months of expectation. You're talking about training camp, right?
Sure.
Is he going to be ready for training camp, whether it's in Nashville or whether it's somewhere else? We already know that Treylon Burks has been through a ton of injuries, very unfortunate injuries. Like this is you can kind of train to protect your ACL, but ACL tears happen to just about anybody at any point in time in any way. And it's unfortunate, but he's had concussions, serious concussions, multiple concussions his first couple of years. He's had other knee strains to an MCL, an LCL. He's had other types of injuries as well. Nothing has gone well for Treylon Burks overall. It feels like his body goes through it. It seems like every time in training camp we watched him go up and make a play in practice, he might fall down. He would be holding his right hip / lower back after just falling hard, which he tends to do. I don't think it would be crazy for a Jake Locker type decision for Treylon Burks if his body just can't hang. And sometimes that happens. And I think, honestly, those are the two directions his career could go. It's either continue to try to play for somebody else, or maybe football is not the thing and get out before the injuries continue to rack up and make that body be a lot more painful later in life.
I don't think it's impossible because of what you said, right? If it's 9 months until recovery, we're looking at training camp for him now. Even if you are looking at training camp, how close is he to being, 100% in that version of himself? Even at 100% health-wise this year, the Titans tried to incorporate him into the offense, and it just didn't take. It didn't work, which makes you question his ability to work in this offense or other offenses. And if the Titans are going to cut him, if the Titans are planning to move in a different direction, who's giving Treylon Burks guaranteed money? Who's giving Treylon Burks a spot on the 53 roster? Do I think he can hang in the NFL and get on a practice squad and, try and work his way back in, get some game day elevations and show what he's made of? Absolutely. And I think that would be the career path for him. But he is a first round pick. Like, he's made some good money already. And the question then for Treylon becomes, like, how much do you want to do football? How much do you love football so much that, I don't think this is a guy who's going to be pressing for the extra 1.2 million or whatever that he can get to get a 1-year contract from a team right now. I don't see that in his future. I don't think, it's different if he's a guy who's spent his whole career as a practice squad guy and didn't get on a big signing bonus when he was drafted. But if you don't need the money, it comes down to how much do you just want to play football, because you're probably not going to have an instrumental role on any team. I'd be surprised if you were on a Super Bowl contending team.
Because the timing of this is kind of wild, because the ACL surgery really does throw a big curveball into his future. If he was healthy going into the offseason, we'd still probably having a conversation about what do the Titans do with him, because he hasn't been productive. But now that he's coming off of significant surgery, and let's say it does take 9 months like a regular ACL repair does, now who is signing Treylon Burks, who has a grand total of 699 receiving yards in his 3 years in the league, riddled by injuries? I believe he's only played, I think Buck did this on A2Zsports.com. He's only played roughly 33% of the Titans snaps since he was drafted because of multiple injuries to a lot of different parts of the body. Who is signing that unproductive injured player directly coming off of an injury? I don't know what that market looks like.
Right.
So there's into the season.
There is a market for him to sign with a team. I mean, if Jamal Adams is getting signed by the Detroit Lions practice squad with the intention of getting playing time on game days. If Caleb Farley is getting signed by the Carolina Panthers with the intention of getting some playing time on game days, right? If guys like that are able to latch on elsewhere in the league, I do think there is a path for Treylon Burks to extend his NFL career. But that then begs the question that I asked, which is, how worth it to him is it to play one more year of football for, I don't know, New Orleans, right? So like you play 6 games for the Saints next year and you make league minimum to play for the Saints next year, but you risk putting your body through another injury. How worth it is it becomes the question.
Yeah, and also, like, is he going to be signed? It seems like if he's not with the Titans, it seems like could he be signed in like late September or October once injuries start to stack up to the first month of the season, right? Because that's what happened to Caleb Farley, right?
Yeah.
He was cut from the Titans, waived, injured, and then he was able to get healthy, and then he jumped on with the Panthers practice squad. He's got a couple opportunities to play in games for Carolina, which is a cool story, home state, all that, which I think, all of us want to see these guys succeed as human beings just because we're not evil people. But it is becoming very concerning about what Treylon Burks actually could do moving forward. So let's ask this question, Sam. What should the Titans do with Treylon Burks this offseason? Because they could keep him. It's not like he's expensive, right? They could keep him, or they could try to move him in some form or fashion. So we'll ask you guys, what should the Titans do with Treylon Burks this offseason? And we have, on purpose, intentionally kept this question as broad as possible. So you guys can take it in as many different ways as you want to. What should the Titans do with Treylon Burks this offseason? But first, I'm going to tell you guys about the Bone and Joint Institute. Whenever an injury pops up in life, just like it has for Treylon Burks here, of having a loose ACL, need to have it recovered, need to have that repaired. And the Bone and Joint Institute could do the same thing if you're in a situation like Treylon Burks, like anybody with injuries in football and injuries in life always happen, and they seem to pop up in inconvenient moments. So make sure that you trust the experts who have all the resources at their fingertips in Franklin, Tennessee, right off of I-65 and Highway 96, next door to Williamson Medical Center. It's all right there for you. The Bone and Joint Institute's got all the people and the technology and the facilities that are top-notch to help you out with whatever that injury may be. Hopefully you don't need surgery. Hopefully it's just a little bit of rehab. Hopefully it's not really nothing. But go get it checked out when you need to. boneandjointtn.org is the website to book an appointment when you need them, boneandjointtn.org.
Today's show powered by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports when you sign up with BetMGM and BetMGM.com. Get up to $1,500 back in the form of a bonus bet if your first bet misses. So if you're looking to back the Titans, if you're looking to back an All-American quarterback type and Will Levis against the Jaguars and maybe take us over in passing yards, do it on BetMGM. Use that bonus code ATOZ Sports when you sign up.
All right, so we asked the question, very vague on purpose. What should the Titans do with Treylon Burks this offseason? So what should the Titans do with Treylon Burks this offseason? I'm going to go ahead and throw up.
I apologize for yawning to the chat. I know that it's contagious. I'm trying. We're toughing it out. I took a couple tears to the eyes to like hold yawns back for you guys. But
I have been fighting the yawns back because I see you do it and I'm trying not to do it. And everybody, it's like yawns are contagious. I don't know why, but
I'll remind everybody, like 2 hours of sleep. 2 hours.
Yes.
Let's be fair here.
Sam's just running on an Italian adrenaline right now, just doing some crazy stuff out there. All right.
If I'm going to turn it on, we're going to have a good conversation on the show. You at least got to let me yawn. Like,
yeah, he's just trying to get more oxygen in the brain
exactly.
Just so we can have a better conversation. All right. Burning Devil. So Sam needs sleep bad, I can tell. Well, not yet. Maybe later tonight.
I haven't said anything outlandish yet. Like,
no, not yet. Not yet. We can keep on going. All right. So Sam, let's go to the chat. What are people saying on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, in the chat? What should the Titans do with Treylon Burks this offseason? Also, if you haven't done it yet, please hit that like button, like the show. What do people say? I see you start there with Brock.
Well, a lot of people are going to come in with a similar answer here, wanting Treylon Burks to be cut. Brock says cut. Eric says cut. Titans. Kyle says try to move him. Maybe you look for a trade partner for Treylon Burks in the offseason, which might be difficult given the current situation.
Yeah.
Got cut from Steven, cut from Denise. Cut him, waste of a roster spot. Keep him, might as well. Keep at him, walk for a comp pick. What does this mean? How do you get a comp pick for Treylon Burks if you keep him?
You don't. If you keep him, you don't.
It would be like a let him walk for a comp pick.
Right, but he wouldn't be worth a comp pick. Comp picks are like net. It's not like it's like what you lost plus what you acquired, and did you net lose or net gain?
Right.
And to get comp picks is why the Titans haven't gotten a comp pick in a while.
Cut from Kevin. Pistol Ramsey says trade if we can't cut him for free. We got release, cut, let him walk, trade him for a bag of chips. A lot of cut, then draft the first round wide receiver. Disagree, Jarrett, but
hey, you never know. It's December.
Fair. Different conversation. We'll have months to talk draft.
I mean, okay, let me just say this. In December of 2021, nobody expected the Titans to be drafting a first-round pick in 2022's draft, right? That was because A.J. Brown in December of 2021.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody was expecting the Titans to draft a receiver in the first round in 2022.
So what are you suggesting? The Titans might make a trade to get another first-round pick?
No, I'm just saying you have no idea.
They use their only first-round pick on a receiver. I feel like, eesh.
We've got so many fun months to talk about.
I know.
You know me. You know how jazzed up I get to talk draft stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just saying anything can happen.
So yes, Austin, the overwhelming thing from the chat is to cut him, and Andrew potentially trolling just says start him. Hey, there's your wide receiver 1 next year.
Well, the most disrespectful comment of the show I saw was somebody said donate him to the Salvation Army.
Oh gosh. Do they need wide receivers at the Salvation Army?
I don't know. But all right, so here's the contract situation. Just to kind of update people, the Titans, I think, can do whatever they want. So Treylon Burks' current cap hit for next season is $4.57 million. That is the last year of his 4-year rookie contract. The Titans will absolutely decline the 5th-year option as soon as they have available chance to do so this offseason. So they could keep him, and he would count $4.57 million, and that's not too much. Or they can designate Treylon Burks as a post-June 1 cut, and they would save $2.66 million on the 25 cap. They would kick that over to 2026, and he would just count 1.9 on the cap for 2025. So you could halvesies his last cap hit for the next 2 years.
You're not saving money. This is a first-round pick who still has a fully guaranteed rookie contract. You're not going to save money, but how you
pay off your debt, right?
Right. Yeah. Do you want to offset the payment over 2 years versus doing it over 1 year?
Right. And so I honestly, the Titans are not in a very difficult salary cap situation whatsoever. I think the Titans can do a lot of different things here. In my opinion, I don't think the Titans should consider the salary cap when making their decision about Treylon Burks this offseason.
I would agree. I don't think you're going to be hard pressed for 1 point whatever million, 1.6.
2.6, right? Like 2. What is $2.6 million? It's like 2 rookie or 2 veteran minimums, right? It's like the 2 Tyler Boyd contracts where it's 1.3 with an opportunity to earn it up to $4 million or something.
If the Titans were in a spot where they were right up against the cap this year, I think it's different. But you have enough cap space that I don't believe the salary cap will affect what you should do with Treylon.
Yeah. So, Justin says, I'm sorry, wrong comment. He says he's sucking up a roster spot. He has to go. Well, no, not anymore. He's on injured reserve. There's no roster spot that Treylon Burks is taking up. And also when the season ends, you have the ability to go back up to 90. And so you can sign futures contracts. You go and get other players that you plan on bringing to training camp. So you can go up to 90-man roster. So there he is no longer taking up a roster spot. He will not take up a roster spot until they have to make cuts at the end of August in 2025. So it's like, do you even want to bring Treylon Burks to training camp to waste time if you think he's done? or what? And so, Sam, what's your answer here? What do you think the Titans should do with Treylon Burks?
Yeah, you left it open-ended for a reason, I feel like, because my answer is not as cut and dry as just saying cut him. My answer is the Titans should do right by Treylon Burks. And what I mean by that is if Treylon Burks is healthy, you cut him. Because if Treylon Burks is healthy, I think you give him an opportunity to go play somewhere else. I don't think there's a future for him with the Titans. I think that is done. I think the lack of success that it had this season, combined with the fact that he won't be working out with the team in the offseason, that he won't be, getting integrated into the offense. Yeah, I don't see the fit for Treylon with the Titans. However, if he's healthy enough to play, you are better off cutting Treylon, giving Treylon an opportunity to go pursue a different opportunity than just holding him hostage on your roster or practice squad, or I guess practice squad, he would always be able to get signed somewhere else.
Yeah.
Or injured reserve or pup list or whatever it is, if he's getting close to playing and being able to play. However, if he's not healthy, it means you keep him. It might sound weird to some folks to say if he's healthy, cut him. If he's not healthy, keep him. But to me, that's more of a Caleb Farley situation that we saw the Titans do, where Caleb Farley wasn't going to be available for the Titans. Like I said, I don't think the Titans are hard-pressed that they need Treylon's money in 2025. And he's under contract. And so in that scenario, you keep him on the roster, you provide medical care for him, you provide rehab and all of the things that he needs to get right and have as good of a life as possible after football, or prepare him to be on the football field again, whether it's with your organization or not. It was one thing I think they did really well with Caleb Farley, was this idea that everybody was saying, cut Caleb Farley. And the Titans knew that there wasn't really a huge monetary gain for them to cut Caleb Farley, but they could do right by Caleb Farley and provide him with support that he needed. And it's a good thing, because what Caleb Farley went through outside of football, outside of injuries, I think it was really good for him to be in a locker room and have, his teammates there with him, supporting him. And that's what I would like to see them do with Treylon Burks. He doesn't have to be in the locker room. He doesn't have to face the media. He doesn't have to be around. We can forget about Treylon Burks for all I'm concerned, but give him the community feel to be around these teammates as he goes through this recovery process.
Honestly, I think that's the perfect answer. And that's something that I didn't even think about until I was totally going to be just don't even bring him to training camp. And we're going to get to that in a second. But I love that answer, because it is the correct answer. It's the right football answer. And it's also the right human being answer of how to support somebody going through injuries and overall. I'm with you. I like that a lot. He's healthy.
This is what Rand Carthon aspires for, I feel like. Everything that we've heard from Rand, even Callahan to an extent, but really the Rand Carthon mission is to be somebody that supports his players and does right by his players consistently. He's tried to do it with multiple guys that he's traded away. He's tried to be known as that general manager that will have your back when things are, not going well. And while it is a business, you can also make business decisions that are in support of the guys who make the business possible. And that is where I think Rand's headspace would be at, is I'm not going to cut Treylon for the sake of $2 million. I'd much rather do right by Treylon, who has, while been disappointing for the fan base and organization alike, has given it his all. And, the injuries have happened and it's been unfortunate, but that would be an uncomfortable spot for me if you got to a point where it's like, oh, Treylon got hurt again. See ya. Good luck recovering from the ACL, buddy. That's when he needs you most.
Yeah, congrats on your surgery. We're glad the surgery was successful. Go get your own ice pack.
Right.
Right. No, go do your own rehab. Yeah, that's not how the business works. And I think you bring up the Caleb Farley example is a great one. And I think we all agree Caleb Farley was a bust of a draft pick, right? And so many unfortunate
we
things
knew it in
happened.
the moment. Like there was no realistic hopes when the Titans are trotting Caleb Farley out on the practice field that he was going to be a breakout star in their defense or that he would even play on their defense. But you still were like, hey, man, good for Caleb Farley, like getting his work in, getting on the football field again, getting more familiar. And, it didn't happen with the Titans, but it did set him up to now play in 5 NFL games this year for Carolina.
Sure. And he continues to just string it together and bridge the gap and see if he's healthy again to continue to put together some type of career. So with Burks, okay, I want to ask you this question. This is off the top of my head, and then we'll get back to the planned follow-up. What percentage chance do you think Treylon Burks plays another game? Wears another game jersey for the Titans? I'm including the preseason. He wears a game jersey, not the photo shoot in early August, but plays in a game wearing the game jersey, preseason or regular season. Percentage chance.
Ooh, hey, I'm
You keep thinking. I'll read some chat. Because in the Fed, Chicago says 0.0. Jeff says 10%. Scott says -1%. Yuri says 25%. Lou Man says 0. Steve with 4. Kevin with 5. Top tier with 7%. Yeah, I see. Corey had 7.
You threw me off a little bit with the preseason being in there, but I don't like. I think it made me rethink for a minute, but I don't think it ultimately changes my answer. Where I'll say about like 10%. I think it's unlikely he's healthy to play and part of the Titans' plans as early as the preseason. And I think it's unlikely that he is playing in the regular season for them. I think your options are kind of what I presented. Like it's either a waive/cut with an injury designation at the end of training camp after he doesn't play in the preseason games because he's still recovering from the ACL, but then you free him up to go and sign with a practice squad and sign with another team, or it's you put him on injured reserve during training camp if you know, hey, it's going to be a couple more months.
Would he technically be on the PUP list?
Probably,
he would be a PUP list candidate because it was an injury from the year before. Just like just like Colton Dowell.
Right. So he'd be PUP list, and you PUP list him, and then you just leave him there, and give him as much time as possible. Store him away. You don't use an active roster spot on him. You keep him on the PUP list, and in that scenario, maybe he comes back this time next year, right? And he's had a full 12-month recovery and he can play in some games if they're meaningless football games. I think it's probably about a 10% chance. I think it's unlikely that all of that goes right.
I think, and I don't know this actually, like what happens contractually if he's on the PUP list and they just leave him there? Like, I'm guessing he gets his money because it's a first.
Yeah,
right?
I know.
He gets his
regular,
money.
It would be like he's on the active roster or like he's on
because it's a rookie contract.
Yeah.
Because I do think stashing him on the PUP list for if he's actually unhealthy, I think that's a legitimate option. If he's healthy, I agree with what you said earlier. Let him loose and let him go find another opportunity because it's not here. I'm going to give the percentage of him playing another game for the Titans preseason regular season 2%.
Yeah. I mean, it's low. I think it has to be that mixture of everything having to go right. It has to be sort of this perfect formula for a world where Treylon is in the mix on the football field. I think, one of those things has to be the Titans are out of contention in 2025. I don't think a good Titans team that's pushing the playoffs and has an offensive formula figured out is going to insert Treylon Burks into their offense in November of this, November, December of the season, because now all of a sudden he's working his way back from a knee surgery. I don't see that being a decision the Titans make. So he needs to be somewhat promising, but hurt enough that he's not ready to go for the beginning of the season. He needs to then get stored on the PUP list. He needs to then recover over a 2 or 3 month period before the end of the season and be actually in football shape, ready to go. And the Titans have to be out of contention enough that they feel good about him suiting up. Yeah, which I think it's unlikely that all of those things.
Yeah, happen. It's a big parlay. Okay, so now let's ask this. Let's figure out what, because I think there's a chance the Titans move on from him before he has a chance to even get to training camp, right? And I want to ask this question, and I'll kind of give some extra context. What do the Titans need to add at receiver to not need to bring him to training camp? Like, what do they need to add at that position in the offseason to not even like think it is a waste of opportunity to have Treylon Burks at training camp because we have A, B, C, or whatever, right? Because let's look at this. Titans receivers under contract next year.
They have 2 that I think.
Calvin Ridley,
Bryce Oliver,
and Jaquan Jackson.
Well, yeah, I think 2 of those guys are.
NWI is not under contract, but he better be back. If he is not back, people will riot.
I have thoughts on that.
But that would be crazy, right? I mean, are we forgetting anybody else?
I mean, you've got your young guys, like all of your young guys that are on the P squad.
Practice squad guys, yeah. But like Colton Dowell is under contract.
Right, Colton Dowell, I mean, could you sign Mason Kinsey to another futures contract and bring him back? Bring back, like there's a number of younger dudes that are on.
Trayshawn Harrison could be in camp again, those type of guys. But that it's not many
guys
right?
that you would realistically project to be on the 53. I think you have 2 under contract right now.
Agreed. So what do you need to add in the offseason to where you can just say, and because Treylon Burks is one of these, he would be the third if he was healthy, right? He's under contract for a year. Now you know about him as much as you do some of the others. But so what would the Titans have to add in the offseason to not bring Treylon Burks into training camp? So if you guys want to go free agents, you can go draft, you can get detailed with that. What would the Titans need to add at receiver to not bring Treylon to training camp? But first, let me tell you guys about T-Dot, who is trying to make our state stay beautiful, keep Tennessee beautiful by being a part of the solution to end littering across our state of Tennessee. Over 88 million pieces of litter are on our roadways, and T-Dot spends $23 million every year to help clean them up. That's a ridiculous situation there, but we can all pitch in and do our part for that as well. You can clean up litter when you see it. You can also stop littering yourself. You can go to nobodytrashestennessee.com, join a local cleanup that's organized in your community for your kids, maybe just you get something else that you can do over the holiday season and make things a better place. NobodyTrashesTennessee.com is where to go. You can also fill out a quiz there, and you can earn rewards points to save money on local events for tickets, other perks as well. NobodyTrashesTennessee.com is where to go to find out how you can help keep our state beautiful and clean up our state as well at NobodyTrashesTennessee.com.
Today's show powered by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Use the bonus code ATOZ Sports when you sign up with BetMGM.com and get up to $1,500 back in the form of a bonus bet. If your first bet misses, that's up to $1,500, whatever your first bet wager amount is, going back into your account so that you can win big and you get a second chance at it with BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas.
All right, so I asked the question, what do the Titans need to add at receiver to not need to bring Burks into camp? So I'm going to try to see if I can start at the top of these. Scott says drafted the best edge rusher in the first round, Isaiah Bond from Texas in the second round. So there's a second round wide receiver there.
I like Isaiah Bond a lot.
I do too. Yeah, former Bama turned Texas receiver. Bort says a receiver drafted up to the fourth round. If it's a fifth round or later, you probably want to keep Burks around. More, I did not mean to click on that. Mario saying Burks is going to be working at McDonald's next year. Hey, you have to work 2 years at McDonald's to then be a franchise owner of McDonald's, which is a great business move because those McDonald's franchisees print money. So Treylon Burks could do that and become a multi-millionaire over the course of his lifetime from McDonald's outside of football. So joke's on you, Mario. Robbie says high round wide receiver pick or mid-level free agent. So that's an or. Jay says bring him back. Patrick says, what's the odds they sign T. Higgins? That's an interesting conversation. We'll definitely hit on quite a bit. Memory Mix has signed a veteran wide receiver. Patricia says Terry McMillan. Steve,
it probably means to be Tet McMillan. But.
Yeah. Steve says a first-round receiver. Jamie says Burks and Kinsey can go work security at a bar on Main Street. You mean Broadway? Louis says, I want to keep him, but he ain't happy here, so let him be free. Juan says wide receiver in the first round. Sam, what do you think? What do the Titans have to do in the offseason to bring Burks to not need to bring Burks to camp?
Yeah, I think you need to add 3 wide receivers.
3 bodies.
I mean, we just went over the numbers. You got 2 guys that you realistically think around the 53, and then you could have a Kinsey, a Dowell, a Harrison in camp, right? And those are guys that have been in camp with you before. They could be candidates for your practice squad. They can compete well. But like, I think in order to be like, yeah, we don't even need Treylon. I feel like you have to feel pretty good about the numbers that you have at the receiver position, and it's wide open right now. So this doesn't have to be 3 splashes, obviously, but you don't have Nick Westbrook-Ikhine anymore. Bringing Nick Westbrook-Ikhine back he would be one of the 3. But maybe it's a one splashy-ish veteran addition, one not so splashy veteran addition, and then like a mid-level rookie, and you put together at least a solid top 4 in your receiving core that way. But for me to be like, oh yeah, they don't need additional help at wide receiver, I would need to see like 3 new legitimate guys be part of this team.
Okay. To not need Burks at all in camp.
Yeah, it's weird, and that's not a Treylon Burks thing for me. But if the Titans bring in 2 wide receivers, let's say it's just Nick Westbrook-Ikhine and they draft somebody.
On day 3 pick, right? Because
day 3 pick.
Remember, no 3rd round pick. They've got like what, 2, maybe 2 4th rounders, maybe 3 4th rounders.
Yeah, let's say it's a 4th round wide receiver and they re-sign Nick Westbrook-Ikhine. I'm still coming into the season going, you're thin at receiver.
Absolutely.
Your 4th guy, in case somebody goes down, is Bryce Oliver. You're thin. Yep. You need another
or the 4th round rookie.
Well, he's like your 3rd.
Or Bryce Oliver might be the 3rd.
Right, yeah. So I mean, I'm like you're thin at the position. So that would not necessarily. That's not to say Treylon Burks solves that problem, but like I would at least be advocating for more receiver help, and I don't see the purpose in cutting Burks, like moving on from Burks, if you yourself as a team need depth at wide receiver. I don't think those 2 things would happen. The scenario that we talked about earlier, where you could cut a healthy Treylon Burks and say, Treylon, hey man, go pursue opportunities, go extend your career. I think that only happens if the Titans, have enough guys that you see as being part of your plan to make that sort of a move.
Yeah. So I'm actually I'm not going to one up it. I'm going to add one. Because I don't think NWI should count towards the new numbers added. I think it's NWI plus 3 more.
That would be a lot, though.
I'm talking about like NWI, because right now you got starting level receivers in 2025 is Calvin Ridley and NWI. That's it. That are like game day active roster level wide receivers that you have, 2. And one of them's on a contract. So I think you have to bring him back. You need at least to not have Burks in
Bryce
camp.
Oliver should be your 5th receiver.
And I think that would be a good progression for Bryce Oliver. Jaquan Jackson, I don't even know if he's going to be here either, right? He's on a contract.
Bryce Oliver. Brian Callahan praised Bryce Oliver yesterday for all he's done on special teams, which I think is a good. So, I mean, we saw it with NWI, right? I mean, it's a good jumping off point for a guy playing wide receiver to hang on a roster and then continue improving as an offensive threat. I think that is the way that like the Titans' vision his career unfolding right now, that they see him being on the 53, but he's the guy that you put on the 53 to help with special teams. That is your last resort to be in the game at wide receiver. You don't want to have to rely on Bryce Oliver as your wide receiver 3. That's just not a good position to put yourself in.
So my answer is NWI +3, because that what I think that is probably 2 veterans, one to be your wide receiver 2, to make NWI your wide receiver 3, and then another guy who's like the Chris Moore level.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
from
I'm
2 years
just
ago.
pulling up a list of unrestricted free agent wide receivers. Like, you've got a lot of high-end guys, or at least big-name guys, with Stephon Diggs, T. Higgins, Keenan Allen, Amari Cooper, Chris Godwin, Deontay Johnson is a free agent, Brandon Cooks, bigger names. But I think you're looking at settling somewhere at a Van Jefferson or an
Bring Van home, man. I like Van.
Olamide Zaccheaus, who has had a decent impact for Washington, right? Like, that's one of your veterans, your Noah Browns, your Marquez Valdez-Scantlings, your Elijah Moore, who's been doing pretty good stuff with Cleveland. These are not guys that are going to change things they're not going to change the landscape of your offense, but they're guys that you feel good if Elijah Moore is your 3rd, 4th wide receiver. If he's your 3rd wide receiver, you feel good.
Is NWI the 2?
Yeah.
So Ridley, NWI.
I mean, like, whatever, right? I'm saying, let's say they sign Elijah Moore, they bring back NWI, they draft a guy in the 4th round, and then your receiving core is made up of Ridley, Westbrook-Ikhine, Elijah Moore, the rookie you drafted in the 4th round, Bryce Oliver, and then kind of like a hodgepodge of that other talent. I think that's enough
to not have Burks at camp.
I think it's fine. Yeah, I feel like you feel pretty good about that group.
Is it amazing? No.
Veteran.
I think there's one more veteran. I think that's why I think it's NWI +2.
I have different thoughts about NWI than everybody does in that sense, but like, I would rather see the Titans not bring back NWI for the money that he's going to get.
Oh,
and instead make a bigger play at receiver.
Okay.
Get Levis a second weapon.
Oh man, but he's throwing dimes to NWI.
I love NWI. You can't break up I love NWI. I don't love NWI at $12 million a year.
He's not gonna make $12 million. There's no way.
If he scores 13 touchdowns,
that's 5 more touchdowns, which I know he's on pace to
5 more games. Like, he is absolutely pacing to score 13 touchdowns.
No, but he's not actually going to do it.
Well, you're going to miss out on BetMGM.
No, I didn't actually think that. No, I'm not missing, because I'm like Easton. I've got NWI.
I mean, I have to see what. The number one thing I'm excited for once the offseason hits is like me looking at Spotrac and seeing what the
projections are,
the contract value projection for Nick Westbrook-Ikhine is, because I genuinely love the player. I think part of what makes Nick so great is the contract value that you get in him, but he's making like $2 million this year, and could have potentially gotten a little bit more on a 1-year deal to leave the Titans. I don't think it's crazy to think he gets a 3-year, $36 million contract somewhere.
No.
Austin, all right, let me look at last year's receivers. Because I know you think this is crazy.
Okay, I'll let you pull this up. We have some super chats too. I'll let you pull up the contracts for of what you think NWI is going to make. Real quick, let me tell you guys about Farm Bureau Health Plans. FBHP.com/ATOZ is where you should turn for any of your health coverage needs. If you want to find out how to save money on your health coverage, Farm Bureau Health Plans can do that, but they can also give you better coverage. FBHP.com/ATOZ is how to get started. You fill out a health assessment form that takes all of like 8 minutes maybe, and then they give you a quote, and then you get to find the right coverage, the right plan for you as an individual, as a family. Maybe you're an employer looking for group coverage. They've got that as well. Farm Bureau Health Plans online. Get a quote today by visiting our link first, FBHP.com/ATOZ. I'll tell you guys about BetMGM while Sam keeps doing some research. The bonus code, ATOZ Sports, is how to set up with BetMGM. You get up to $1,500 back in bonus bets if that first bet misses. The sports book born in Vegas also dishes out odds boosts all the time. I used a college basketball odds boost the other night. Helped me boost Tennessee minus 21.5 over Syracuse to plus money. Got that in the bank. Always fun to make some early December college basketball coin with BetMGM. You can do the same, but make sure you sign up with our bonus code ATOZ Sports. Okay, Sam, you just said it would not be crazy if NWI gets something like 3 years, 36 million, an average of 12 per year.
I don't think it'll be 12 per year, but I think it could be 9 or 10. 9 or 10.
That's a big difference.
Not really. 10 to 12 is like not that huge, but
9 to 12. That's a big difference.
I mean,
it's like a 25% difference.
Yeah, but let's look at 2024. Let's look at the guys that were just wide receivers that signed. Darnell Mooney got 3 years, $39 million. He got 13 per year from the Atlanta Falcons. Darnell Mooney, who finished his last year in Chicago with about 400 receiving yards, had the worst year of his career.
But that was Chicago. Like, we knew that.
No, right. But I mean, like, Darnell Mooney was not a – I mean, I felt
that is crazy, though. That was a lot of money.
3 years, $39 million for Darnell Mooney. And who you would be like, yeah, he
wasn't.
Did he be a solid number 2?
How many? I mean, because Darnell Mooney had back-to-back like 500, 400-yard seasons with the Bears after a big 1,000-yard season. Is that like? I mean, he only had like 30 catches, 40 catches. Did he miss games?
Not a ton. He never had like a big like miss.
He missed 5 games 2 years ago and 2 games
Nick
last
Foles.
year.
Nick Foles loved Darnell Mooney. Nick Foles, when Darnell Mooney went over 1,000 yards, Nick Foles was throwing him the ball. And Justin Fields, the more you got of Justin Fields as the Bears quarterback, the less passing there was, obviously, but then also that connection was just a little bit off. Darnell Mooney had a major issue with drops his last year. But
he got 13 per from the Falcons.
Got 13 per, 3 years, $39 million. Davis,
he is on pace for 1,000 yards, and he currently has 5 touchdowns with 5 games left. So it's
correct. He's having a good year for Atlanta, but what he does for Atlanta doesn't change what he got. Like right.
Yeah. Okay.
Gabe Davis got 3 for 39 as well.
But Gabe Davis was way more proven than NWI.
Mike Williams got 10 million. Curtis Samuel got 8 million on a 3-year, $24 million contract. Kendrick Bourne got a 3-year, $19.5 million contract with escalations to bring it over 20. I think you are looking, especially with how he's playing, Nick Westbrook-Ikhine is going to finish the year with over 500 receiving yards and double-digit receiving touchdowns, and that guy is going to get 3 years, $20 million. Like that's a baseline for me. I think he gets that contract for sure. Alan Lazard the year before got a huge deal as well. He got like 3 years, 35.
Now here's the question though. He currently has 20 catches for 365 yards and 8 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm. And
does he even have 10 more receptions this season to get to 30?
I don't know. But like also, how many games is that over? Because it's really just like the last stretch of what, 8 games?
Yeah, he's played in all 12, but he did not have a target in the first 4.
Yeah, he's got 365 over the last 8, which means he's averaging 45 yards per game. The Titans have 5 more games. That's 228 receiving yards on top of what he already has, which would put him right at 600 receiving yards. Like as of right now, NWI is pacing to have like 30 catches for 600 receiving yards and 13 touchdowns. If he does that, right, that's the trajectory we're on. The man's going to get paid. And I love it for him. Good for you, Nick. Go get that bag. I don't know if I would say the Titans should pay him that.
You're talking about a dude who got that dad strength immediately after having his first kid in the summer in NWI.
And I know people say, well, like Chef Rand says that's a cheap wide receiver too. I agree. I guess my point would be, instead of paying a cheap wide receiver 2, use the money, go get a second wide receiver 1. Like, why not, right? Like, what would you rather the Titans pay NWI 3 for 24, whatever, or 3 for 28? Or would you rather the Titans take that 8 million per year, $9 million per year, whatever it is, and put it towards T. Higgins, put it towards Chris Godwin. I'd rather see them make a play with. I love the idea. Guy who's going to be discounted, that is going to get underpaid, Deontay Johnson.
Yeah, but he just got suspended for conduct detrimental to the team.
Bro wants to come to Tennessee. He's like, hey, he's sitting out of games.
He's sitting out from the Ravens so he can come to the Titans.
He just wants to be a Titan.
Exactly. So Bork says it's not his fault that his receptions in drives with touchdowns. Like, the thing is, like, NWI still has 98 yards of his 365. That's like 28% of his production is one play, yards wise, not touchdowns.
Yeah.
But like, it's still so weirdly weighted that I don't think he is going to be seen like the other wide receivers that you just named that got the 12 to 13 million.
I also want to say this because I have said this and I mean this unironically, that trajectory that we were on, and hear me when I say I don't care about this.
Okay.
But this will be a thing. I think he's going to go to the Pro Bowl.
No.
If he scores 12 touchdowns as a wide receiver, you are going to be a Pro Bowler. 100%. I mean,
maybe as like the 7th alternate in an AFC wide receiver. He might Mac Jones his way to the Pro Bowl.
I think he can be a Pro Bowler, and
Tyler Huntley was a Pro Bowler.
I'm not saying I care about it. I preface by saying I don't care. The Pro Bowl is a joke, but I'm saying he's going to have the Pro Bowl accolade and a double-digit touchdown season, and people are going to be very high on him. I think people are going to be bullish about what he can bring. He'll probably get paid, and I kind of agree with Jake. I know it's blasphemy to say, but I think NWIs are kind of a dime a dozen in the league. Like, you're going to be able to find another guy. Part of what makes him such a cool, great story is the fact that it's coming out of nowhere.
Well, but that's not to say he's not a dime a dozen, because the Titans haven't been able to replace him.
Well, that's on you. every other team.
Yeah, but we're talking about this is 5 years later, though. Like, they have not been able to get rid of him and draft over him or sign over him for 5 consecutive years. So he's not a dime a dozen. That's somebody saying, Andre's like, Austin, quit shortchanging NWI. No, that calling him a dime a dozen is shortchanging NWI, because he's not.
I think he is more ordinary than he's playing. And I think he is going to fairly get paid more than what his ability level would.
Look, NWI is currently doing his best Jeremy Lin, right? He is in this spot.
Yes.
Where he is on freaking fire. And Jeremy Lin went berserk. He made a lot of money. He had the Linsanity. He's not quite that because it's not the Knicks, but this is what NWI is. He's going to revert to his normal production, which is 400-ish yards in a season, maybe a couple touchdowns, but he plays and he's reliable. And he can have a 10-year NFL career by being the Jeremy Lin of the NFL.
And if you pay him $5 million,
I think you can pay him 7 per year, maybe 8. He ain't getting 12. Nobody's going to pay him 12 in the open market. He's not going to get... He's not going to get a 600%.
I think he will get double-digit AAV.
And that would be at least a 500% pay increase. I just don't think he's going to get
a 500% increase in production.
For touchdowns, maybe. All right. We don't need we can punt and save our second topic for Ridley for tomorrow.
We're off the rails, but
we got real off the rails. All right, we do have some super chats I want to get to real quick before we switch gears to the end of show topic. Because Andre says, why does this team take so long to see the obvious that some fans see a mile away? Burks' experiment should have ended last year, holding on the turds.
It's a great point.
He does have a simple answer, though. He does have a simple answer. The simple answer is new coaching staff.
But that's what you get paid to do.
No, I know.
I mean, it was interesting listening to all these guys go on about Nick Westbrook-Akine in their press conferences, and every single time they're like, he's awesome. He crushes it. He's where he's supposed to be. Will trusts him. He gets like he does all the things. My natural response every time, like I look over at Paul Kaharski and we go, thank God Treylon got all those snaps weeks 1 to 6. Like, thank God, thank goodness we got a really good look at Treylon. How did we not deduce this ahead of time? Everybody, you, me, everybody in the chat, we were all saying, why is Treylon Burks on the field? Why is Treylon Burks taking snaps? And then as soon as you do what the fan base is asking for, it works. I don't have an answer for why. I think it's a bad.
No, I think it's like there's a difference. Yes, because they played him too long. I think there's reasons. It's easy to say hindsight.
I agree. There's reasons to start with Treylon Burks as the guy, but
especially because DeAndre Hopkins got hurt in training camp and was out for a bit, and Burks got those reps because new coaching staff, offensive coaching staff thinks we can fix it, right? And that's the easiest answer because you don't quite give up on it.
It does raise a red flag about your ability to do internal scouting and pro scouting. If you can't even scout that Nick Westbrook-Akine in practice is more capable of filling the DeAndre Hopkins X role in your offense than Treylon Burks. And like that to me is where I'm like, you've seen Nick play.
I think it was more of we know NWI can do it. So we'll put it over here.
Yeah, I guess.
Let's find out if Treylon can.
That's something you do in training camp, not
that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about in training camp.
Right, but you did it in the regular season.
But because Burks had like a fine training camp, and D-Hop was coming back, and it was like a snap count, right? And it was a weird situation. It sucked, and NWI not playing the first 4 games didn't cost the Titans wins in those first couple of games. Other things did.
It could have, but it could have
helped. He could have helped.
I mean, how much of a difference has he made for this offense since he's been playing? Huge. So maybe he has a huge impact on the offense early in the game or early in the year.
Yeah,
I don't think you play a game against Chicago that you're 1 score away from winning that game.
You were up 17 at halftime.
And maybe NWI being out there picks up a first down or 2 and you give the Bears the ball one last time and you don't lose that game. Maybe you kick an extra field goal. You lose a 1-score game to the Jets. Might have been nice to have NWI out there for that one.
I just don't think he as a receiver has that big of an impact on wins and losses. But he has.
Okay, Mister, don't undermine NWI.
No, I just don't think. Okay. I just don't think that's how football works because the quarterback has the most weight on the wins and losses, and that's what we saw.
Fair, right? The quarterback was bad.
Yeah, the quarterback was bad. NWI being out there instead of Burks is not going to fix everything. I do think it saves Will Levis an interception on the deep ball of the Jets that went through Burks' hands. That's different, but it doesn't stop the Spider-Man dive fumble to Tajay or the flick 6. That doesn't do anything.
That is true. That is true.
Speaking of that, Big Ten Jeff comes over with a super chat. Sam is like Will Levis. When you think he's out, he goes on a 4-week run and improves his odds.
2 All-American quarterbacks that were written off too soon. Me and Will Levis.
All right. Do you want to do the magic bucket, or do you want to just discuss the Italian play?
What's there to discuss?
I don't know, man.
It's great TV. This is why, for people, this is all I'll say. Then we can get to
let me pause it because, I think we should skip the magic bucket, but I think we should let you have a pitch for just Survivor the show, right? The show Survivor of what makes it so phenomenal. But we'll do that here in a second. Wilson County Hyundai, make them a part of your new car buying process. Go see them in Lebanon or online, wilsoncountyhyundai.com. Let them save you some money on that new ride. Go see Pain Bone when you need them, wilsoncountyhyundai.com. So Operation Italy was phenomenal. It was a fantastic television show. It was down to the wire. It made the heartbeat go. It was like sports anxiety. Watching a reality TV show is what I felt by watching that episode last night. So Sam, kind of go into what you're about to dive into.
I mean, it's what you said. It last night's episode, I think, is the perfect. And it was really cool to see the reaction of people online and what people were saying about the episode, because the general consensus was, this is why I watched this show. like that episode, that feeling, that the fact that you were like there was emotions in the episode. It was emotional at times. It was hatred for people at times. It was love for people at times. It was funny at times. And then it also had this strategic anxiety that just made you pull your hair out and made your heart feel like it was jumping out of your chest. It's that feeling that made me fall in love with Survivor. And it's that feeling that I've tried to tell so many people in my life for years. This is why you have to watch it, because if you get invested, it will continue to deliver. And so I think it was just a really cool episode for that reason, because I think it kind of captured all of those things that make the show so good. It's, early reactions are super positive. Like I said, it is currently on IMDb the highest rated episode of Survivor ever.
Really?
And that is really, really cool.
I mean, that's got to be cool. That's got to be like, because we talked about this before the season in our preview video of like, you grew up watching this show as a kid. That's like Titans fans watching Steve McNair and Eddie George in their couches, and then going out and leading the Titans to a victory with a touchdown catch in the fourth quarter of a December game to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely like when I watched it, I remember, like I just said, right? All of the reasons that it got me when I was younger was all of the reasons that I think a lot of people, all of the things America experienced last night watching it. And so to watch it growing up and be like, oh, I want to do that someday to set a goal. We had talked about it on this show. I remember one Magic Bucket way back a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
You asked, what would you be famous for on like a Magic Bucket? If you could pick anything in the world to be famous for, what would you be famous for? And I said, I want to be on Survivor. Like, I want to be a Survivor legend. Yeah. And that was 100% my real answer that of like what I wanted to do. So it was, it's obviously very, very cool that who knows if it'll stay the #1 episode or whatever, but just to know that it's something people are going to remember and stick with people for a very long time is really cool.
Yeah. Records are set to be broken. That's all I'll say about the highest rated. Mikey says, I watched Survivor since Outback. Last night was everything that makes Survivor what it is. Top 10 episode for me, hands down the best episode of the new era. So there's a lot of really good comments here. Landon asks who got voted out last night. Don't go watch it. Like, go watch that. Like, this is not one that you want to be like, oh, I'm going to look up on who got voted out before I go watch it. No, don't do that. That ruins an incredible experience.
And Austin, I'm curious from your perspective, because you were somebody that like, I had been telling you, hey, watch Survivor. And you kind of were like, I don't know if it's like really for us. I knew like you liked the Traitors. You had some experience in the competitive reality
Traitors
space.
Was the first true like game reality TV show that my wife and I watched together. And we liked Traitors. We liked the concept of the game. I do think everything is about the characters, right? And the people behind it. The concept of the games are great, but the players are the ones that create the different curveballs and left turns.
The Traitors is trying to do something a little bit different. They cast big characters for a reason with the intention of, they really, they want people to watch, and like the people who are out there, not even out there necessarily to like win all the time. They're trying to make like drama. And it's great. It's fun television. It's really good stuff. But I remember telling you like, hey, like give Survivor a try. And I don't know if you ever did until, the anticipation for 47 led you down watching 46. And I'm curious from your perspective, your level and investment in the show moving forward at like, has the show got you from what you've been watching?
I think the game
it will be different when you don't have me on the show.
Yeah,
right.
Like, and that's the test. Is like when I don't know somebody and work with somebody every day that's there. Like, what's my like? I 46 was great. Now that was a different thing too, because it was already out on demand and we watched it in like a week and a half or something.
Well, you got a lot of seasons out there on Paramount Plus that you can.
Yeah, but then I got to sign up for Paramount Plus, which I've been able to avoid.
It's like $11 and it's ad free. It's like
I know. We'll figure it out. But like, so that's to be determined, because it's what is like my emotional attachment to it when I don't physically know somebody. That's different. But like, I know Traders has me hooked. And we texted about this. I wish Traders had the regular people cast then instead of the gamers. You like the gamers of it, obviously. But Sam, what is the cast of Survivor 47? It's regular people.
You're right.
Right?
No, I mean
that is what makes
nobody knows how to cast like Survivor. Genuinely. Like other shows wish they could cast like Survivor and they can't, which is why they end up doing hey, we're going to take already established people from reality TV and make that our cast because
that's a great way to get, because like I think I'm not a Bravo Housewives brand person. I do not like that. I think there's a lot of toxicity that comes with the audience of that.
Yeah, they're fun, man.
there's the Peacock Bravo relationship that has brought a lot of those types of personalities to Traders that I think has gotten in the way of a great game. Because Sam, I have a dream. This is not a draft dream. But I have a dream.
I got worried for a second.
I have a dream that one day I am going to rent a big ass cabin in the mountains and bring a group of my friends, hire somebody to organize it and to be my own Alan Cummings, and play a game of Traders for like a long weekend.
Yes.
Like that is my freaking dream. But
I've got really good news for you. Those things kind of exist.
I know. Like I just have to get to the time and the bandwidth and
there are things called LRGs that are out there.
I literally, because I've booked the Airbnbs for Sam's travel trips. I booked the Airbnbs for Senior Bowl and Combine the last 2 years. I literally have an Airbnb saved for this Traders weekend trip. It is a badass place.
Hey, if you get people to buy in, listen, LRGs are out there. And they are very well run. A lot of LRGs,
What does that stand for?
Live reality game.
Okay.
And it is fans of whatever show that then simulate said show and get like their own little experience of it and get to live it. And some of them, I know like some of the Survivor LRGs come with like you have to pay to enter. And so then there's prize money too. And so it's like, it can be a cool thing. I know a lot of people who have done them in the community because it's just like, if you like it and you think it would be sick, like
I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that at some point. I don't know when, but I'm going to. Chris, I like the Traders game because Survivor, you're obviously like living in the elements. You don't have food.
Right.
Traders is you live in a freaking castle. You get food, you get drink, you get couches and like wear fun clothes.
Way less time. It's, it's substantially easier.
You do like a half physical challenge once, and then you just go back and drink more. So like that's more my speed. I didn't eat lunch yesterday, and I had a massive headache, and I was kind of a jerk later last night until I got dinner. So I know I could not do that very well. I know me. I'm not good without caffeine. So Traders is more my speed as far as that goes. But
sure.
I mean, I think the game, I'm a competitive person. I like doing deep dives and figuring out how to strategize and research and to do things like this. I think it's pretty fun.
Yeah. Andre says people do game show reenacting like they do Civil War ones. No, it's like
show reenact.
It's like you get together with your friends and play football. You're just playing a game.
Yeah.
In a big group of people, like competing in something that you find fun. It's different. You're not like reenacting things that have actually happened. You're creating it yourself.
It is like playing a backyard football, but with less injuries.
Well, yeah, and then sometimes backyard football, you're like, now, what if we all got like actual uniforms and then put up like pylons and sidelines and made it like sick and like, could be cool. It could be fun.
Yes. So again, I'll show you my Airbnb that I have saved for my future.
I love it. Scotland or Iceland or something like that.
It's just East Tennessee.
Oh, I thought you were talking
No, I'm the East
Castle type of thing.
No. I'm working with my own budget here. I'm trying to set this thing up myself.
Fair, yeah. If you're trying to get people to come, you have to be like,
I'm not
it's
trying
drivable
to
East Tennessee.
Yeah, exactly. All right. That's it for us. If you have not watched last night's episode of Survivor, go do it. It was a lot of fun. It was a great drama, great TV, great entertainment. And we will see. 2 more episodes left. 2 more episodes left. It's not quite a finale when it's split up between 2 weeks, but I get it. So 2 more episodes left. Should be a lot of fun. All right, Sam, you're off to Titans practice facility. You and the other All-American QB type. We'll see what he looks like on the practice field today. And we'll catch you guys tomorrow on a Friday where we're getting ready for Titans-Jags, a winnable game for the Titans. So, excuse me, make sure you hit that like button if you haven't already on Facebook or YouTube. Like the show. And we'll catch you guys tomorrow on Friday. Appreciate it as always.